Hey everybody, John Schumacher here with NewWaveHealthcare.com, and I just want to give you guys a heads up in the beginning here. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher Radio, we are a video podcast. So if you're interested in consuming video content, you want to get any of our guest resources or contact information, head over to NewWaveHealthcare.com to check us out there. And in case I sound a little funny, I actually am without my microphone today, so please bear with me on the audio sound. Hopefully it's coming through clear enough. We'll do our best to keep the audio quality as good as we can. I'll be logging onto Amazon shortly after this interview today to get my next mic on the way so we sound crystal clear for our next broadcast. But the show must go on, and we have a great guest today. I'm talking with Dr. Ed Osburn, who is a chiropractor from Alberta, Canada, and the founder of Maverick Consulting, which is a practice management company. He's got some really neat projects in the works on cold laser and other types of things that he's going to touch on today. He's also got one heck of an entrepreneurial story. So if you're in the healthcare industry and you're a chiropractor, a PT, a doctor, whoever, and you've been thinking about taking that entrepreneurial leap, you're tired of trading time for money a little bit, or you've had an illness, or you just need more time with your family, this is going to be an inspiring discussion with Dr. Osburn today. So, Ed, can I call you Ed? Ed or Dr. Osburn?
Call me. Yeah, you can. My wife calls me Dr. Ed, but no, you can call me Ed.
I'll call you Ed. Okay, Ed. Ed, let's just have you start off. Just share a little bit about your personal background, and then we'll jump into your journey.
Absolutely. So I've been a chiropractor for 12 years, and so when I graduated, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Actually, before I graduated, 6 months before I graduated, I would fly back and forth from San Jose, California, to help my wife, who is also a chiropractor, build out our practice. So I knew right away when I graduated that I wasn't going to work or learn under any other doctor, that I was going to go out and do my own thing. And you know what? I struggled for a few years. And we overcame that. We had some really great mentors and whatnot. But we actually, eventually, my wife and I, we built one of the largest family chiropractic practices in Alberta. And we were smoking busy, and we loved it. I mean, we just had so much fun. We had a lot of passion for what we were doing. We were seeing tons of kids, and that might surprise some people to hear that we were seeing kids. But our belief was that if you have a spine and a nerve system, everyone needs to have a checkup. And so yeah, we were doing amazing. And all of a sudden, in 2009, I lost my health. I don't know if I should use that term. I don't like saying that. I got sick. So, and it was crazy because I was 39 years old. I was an ultra-marathon runner. I would go out and I would run, like training for a 100-mile race, and I had a 40-pound pack on, and I would come home and I couldn't get out of bed for like a day. I just was so tired. And eventually, after test after, I just knew that something wasn't right. And eventually, after test, they finally found that I had an autoimmune condition. Most people are, this is a healthcare show, so most people would know or be familiar with Crohn's disease. And it wasn't just, I had Crohn's, because it's kind of there's a full spectrum of that. It was like you have Crohn's, and it's one of the worst cases I've ever seen of Crohn's. Yeah. It was bad. So I did what everyone, I think, would do, and that was I looked at every way to help myself heal naturally before looking at drugs or, of course, surgery. But also what I found is since 2009, my ability to practice, whether it be the distraction from pain or whatever, the symptoms of that, it started to slip, and I never really got back to being to that level of intensity and success in my practice, or what I considered success. It's still a very successful practice. And more so what I missed was connecting with patients, being there, and I felt it was very fulfilling for me to help people in my community, be healthy and well. And I'm sure that, I think that's one thing we all have in common as healthcare practitioners, is we all want people to be healthy and well. And the reason I tell this story is because, this is really what led me to creating something that was online to help other doctors, because I knew that, okay, if I can't be in practice and help people on a mass basis, And, you know, if it's just one-on-one, a couple people every week, great, that makes me happy. But if I can see and hear or speak to 7,000 doctors on a webinar, you know, and spread, or through my website or through my blogs, then I knew that that was a way that I could actually practice that law of affection, you know, affect more individuals and help more people, you know, in their community. So that's kind of my story, what brought me to laser therapy.
Right. Yeah, like so many people, well, or several people, that health issue hit the reset button and changed your mindset a little bit. And, you know, I'm sure it could have been stress related, or I'm sure there's a lot of options and opinions on that, but that's not uncommon for people to have that kind of an issue, and just to say, okay, you know, new perspective, what are we looking at here? And then to your other point, you know, you were thinking about your practice more and how you could help more people. And I think as healthcare providers, we all have special knowledge in our heads, right? Like we have things that can help people feel better, be healthier. And if you're not using the internet in the inappropriate ways to reach a bigger audience, you're really leaving a lot on the table. You're really not reaching and impacting as many people as you could. And I think that's a key point that you just made, was that, you know, you started thinking, how can I touch more people? How can I influence other doctors so through them that they can help more people? And it's just an amazing domino effect that you can create when you do use technology in appropriate ways. And we're always talking about that here on New Wave. We have a lot of people like yourself who have done the online jump and come on to tell your stories. And I was just looking at my YouTube video the other day, on my YouTube channel. I made a YouTube video like 3 years ago, I think, and I was doing pain relief. You know, I'm a physical therapist.
Yeah.
And there's people still commenting on that, you know, like every week, basically. Oh, thank you so much. You know, I mean, I probably touched hundreds of people just from one video. You know, and it's like, it's amazing what we can do today. So it's really neat. So that's when you jumped into the online world. You started. Go ahead and share that story. How'd you start out?
So what happened was I wanted to find a way, and I looked at so many different ways as a doctor that I could help people without compromising my health. So it was very difficult for me to go into my practice in the morning or afternoon and see 40 or 50 patients. I couldn't physically do it anymore. And if I could do it, because I would kind of, you know, it felt okay to go and do that, but immediately after I was ill for like a day or two. And so I just wanted something that I could help people with that was non-invasive and was, you know, easy to explain, you know, help people get healthy and well, maybe get them out of pain if that's the challenge for them. And, you know, I discovered laser therapy, and it was actually interesting because I was looking at, you know, I'm always looking at research to help people who have Crohn's, and they were doing some research on using low-intensity, low-level laser therapy for actually reducing inflammation in the bowel. And that's how I came across it. And I'm like, wow, this is really neat stuff. Unfortunately, they have to cut you open to do the treatment, so I didn't think that was
Wow.
yeah, it would be real effective. But, you know, I thought, well, this is really interesting stuff. And the more research I did, the more I felt like it really fit within my philosophy of health to help people heal with, you know, naturally without the use of drugs or surgery. And yeah, it was a big wow for me. And I had a room. Incidentally, I had a room in my office that was sitting there that was about 200 square feet, and I was looking for a massage therapist. And I go, well, you know what? Why don't I just place in a laser therapy device? I can sit down and consult with patients who would require that, who might be good, you know, qualify, I should say, for laser therapy. Set up protocols, and I had a technician that was trained to apply the therapy. So it's beautiful. I mean, so right now, essentially what I do is I go into my office for approximately 2 hours a week. I do consultations and mostly just push paper after that, and making sure that people are on track for progress. And I have a technician who does all the therapy. So I was in Maui even for 10 days just recently, yet my laser clinic was still open. Now, if that was my chiropractic office, I would have to be there adjusting people, right? Again, that's what I mean by being a catalyzing agent. It was the first time in 12 years I was away from practice and not and having an income in the office as well. It was a good feeling. And as an aside, by the way, because we're all healthcare professionals, assuming, right? I have heard that some healthcare professionals don't support getting disability insurance. And you know, as an individual who lost their health, I would never, you know, I would definitely recommend that we all are very, very well insured, because you never know. Obviously, even myself, I thought I was a very healthy person, and I was doing everything that was required to maintain my health, but obviously I wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Yep, I mean, it can be an avalanche of medical bills then if you're not covered, so you just don't know. So you started implementing leverage and stuff. You started thinking outside the box a little bit more. You brought in some technicians and trained them. And in this case, it was laser therapy, which is kind of an interesting topic. And then you started to free yourself up a little bit. You trained them, and then you started, you know, basically creating an online consulting business right after that. So can you touch on that? How did you get started with that? And if anybody else who's a healthcare provider or health professional would like to start, you know, doing something like that, how do they get started?
You know what? It was just an idea. It was just like it almost seemed like a crazy idea at the time, and I thought, you know what? I created all these systems. My office exploded in the first month, and you know, we're well on our way of doing, you know, over 6 figures in our laser therapy clinic alone this year, in my first year. And I thought, you know what? If these systems work, and I have everything already in place, why not just, you know, again, create something, again, where I'm not compromising my health, because I've never really been passionate about sitting down with people one-on-one and doing coaching. But if I could do it online, you know, record my tutorials so people could have access to them, and they could plug and play laser therapy into their practice, so they could have more freedom, help more people. And not to mention that the people who come in often for laser therapy come in and they actually convert over into chiropractic patients as well. So it supports my philosophy with chiropractic and that clinic as well. So yeah, I just threw an email out there to the consultant who helped me out with the device that I purchased. I had to buy a second one in the first month because I had a 2-week waiting list for therapy. And he thought it was a great idea, and he fired it up the chain to the CEO. And within a week, I was on a conference call with the CEO at this company and 3 of the VPs. And they're like, this is perfect. This is exactly what we were looking for, is this a practice management system that we can, you know, give to our doctors or new clinicians, because that's not just chiropractors, by the way, and to plug and play laser therapy into their office. And so they loved the idea. And I didn't even have a product at the time. It was just an idea. And it was like, after that, I remember the CEO saying, I remember so vividly her going, okay, well, saying something like, the proof is in the pudding. And at that moment, I kind of sank. I was excited to sank, and I'm like, okay, now I got to come through with this. So, yeah, and that's where I started with the creation.
Yeah, you pre-sold the idea, basically, or you had the idea and you went out and validated it before you created it, which is important. I think we all get excited and emotional. We got a new idea and we run out the door and then we pay somebody to create it, and without really finding out if people want it first. So I think that's a good point for everybody to remember. But yeah, let's dive into a little bit more on this, because you know, touch just briefly on laser therapy as an opportunity, because there might be some people listening that are interested in that, and then let's jump into how you actually created the product, because at this point you've got a system going, which is the key, right? You got to have systems to have leverage in your business, or you're going to trade time for money on a treadmill all day long. Dive into that a little bit. Can you touch on the opportunity in laser briefly, and then talk about the process that you went through to create the actual product after you validated it?
Well, I mean, some people might be familiar with laser therapy, and some might not. I mean, the laser therapy that I'm speaking about is class 3B laser, and so this is the cold laser, and we don't use class 4s. I don't think even class 4s are really authorized by Health Canada in Canada for pain, and so musculoskeletal challenges. So that's why I went with 3B, and also the other issue is because we do have charring with class 4 lasers because it produces heat. I didn't trust any technician. So they'll get the work done. They'll heal the body faster as well, or support healing. But they, yeah, you have the chance of injuring a patient. So I was just more, you know what, hey, take your time. I'll do a half-hour treatment or an hour treatment with patients. And I knew I could delegate that work to a technician. And that was my sole purpose. So it helps with decreasing inflammation, soft tissue healing, especially ligament tendon. So I've had several patients who have had incredible success, you know, who come in who have partial tears with shoulder challenges, especially knee. I haven't had a ton of success. You know, when it comes to extremities, we see about an 80% improvement or 80% results. And, you know, the studies are showing that, but, you know, that's our experience in the office as well. When it comes to lower spine and disc injury and in those really large areas like hip, we're seeing a maybe 50% improvement. It's not the best. So we're still working on that. So it's incredibly effective. But even those people who have those large treatment areas that are, you know, like a hip or low back area, even if we can help them be more comfortable, and now they're not walking with a cane, I mean, that's still a great improvement for them. But we just don't see a complete resolution of their symptoms.
Is it so pretty, from a business standpoint, it's obviously done very well for you. And can you touch on that?
Absolutely. I mean, so I found that doctors, in what they were doing is they were billing per treatment area. So every different joint in the body or condition, from TMJD to maybe they had, a cold sore, whatever it is, they charge something different. So I broke it down into half-hour treatment. So, and I call that a small treatment area, and a 1-hour treatment. And those are and my programs are all pre-programmed. The protocols for their treatment all pre-programmed for either 26 minutes or 55 minutes, and we get amazing clinical results. First is having these fee systems all over the spectrum. So I simplified it that way, and so that also made it really easy to convey to the patient. And it's a $50 treatment if it's a half hour, and it's a $97 treatment if it's a 1 hour. Now, I know some offices are charging much more than that, but that's basically our fee. In terms of, the number of treatments, it depends on whether they are acute or chronic conditions, and, of course, their history. But, average treatment in our office is around 10 to 20, or I should say 10 to 15 visits, or 10 to 15 treatments. So I'm very comfortable just sitting down with 3 to 4 patients each week. Again, like I said, honestly, it's really powerful, John, to be able to sit down with someone and not be concerned about paying bills or concerned about finances. It's really not about the money for me, and it's the same thing even with creating my online content. It's more of a passion for me. Nice. So yeah, it's really a really powerful thing, I have to say, is when you're not concerned about paying bills. And I think people pick up on that. So.
Get that whole money thing out of the way there. That's loosens you up a little bit in the shoulders, probably, to be a little more present, focused, and not so worried.
I don't know if it comes across as ego or I just, I think there's a lot of value in what we all do. But especially in what I do, I find that there's a lot of value there. And if you have value for your service, when we're exchanging money, it's just the best in me for the exchange in the best in you. And when I started thinking about, my services in that way, everything changed in my practice. It just exploded. And yeah, I don't really have anyone. I mean, in terms of conversions, because I'm a real stickler for systems and procedures in my office, so we monitor who's getting on care, who's completing their care programs, who's getting better, who's referring. And over the last 4 months, we've had 100% conversion. For every patient I sit down with converts into a care program for laser therapy. It makes sense to them. Like, I have a harder time explaining chiropractic to people who walk in my door.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, and obviously passion is the key, right? You have passion for this, so you're going to be good at it, you care about it, and people are just going to come because they want to see somebody who's good at what they do and they're passionate about what they do. So
yeah,
that's awesome. So when you jumped into the online world, so you found this laser therapy, or this cold laser, you were excited, you saw results, you were able to systematize it in your practice, and then you thought to yourself, I wonder how I could share these systems with others, right? So you created a program around this framework that other doctors or healthcare professionals or whoever can use in their practices. So how did you start with that? Did you outsource? Did you just write out a sketch? Like, take us through the steps of like from A to B to C, so that anybody listening here who's thinking about creating a product like you're doing, which is an information product, is my understanding, can start doing that.
So I think if I pulled out my notebook, it would look like I had lost my mind. It's basically a jotting of notes throughout the whole process. I reverse engineered everything that I did, and from there I created first an outline, and I knew exactly what my avatar was. So what doctors I wanted to attract to this program. I knew exactly you know, how many modules I wanted to create and what the timeline, like, so my video trainings, I knew that, you know, doctors, their average attention of probably about maybe, 10 minutes, 15 at max. And and you know what, it's just my experience, but some chiropractors are lazy. So I wanted to give them everything. I wanted to make it so, like, there would be no question as to, okay, hey, do I need this or do I need that, or how do I market, or how do I explain this? So I even created scripting. Now, I'm not a big proponent of scripting, but I think that everyone needs to be authentic and true to themselves when they're speaking to patients, but it gives them a guideline as to, here's what you need to convey so the patient understands or walks away with a great understanding as to what you're going to be doing. So I created everything. So outline, then I created with more like a table of contents. Then from there I created down an individual outline as to what's going to be in each one of those modules. I had 30 of them. In the end, I have 4 hours of video content, and it has every form you would want, everything I've done in terms of marketing, in terms of internal, external. I've tried to include everything in there. It's probably, if you are a client, it may even be a little intimidating to see all that information.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything.
Okay.
Yeah, and then sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so to recap, you defined who your avatar was, or your target customer, who you were going to serve with this. Then you created an outline. You broke that outline down into parts, and then you started shooting what, screen share videos or PowerPoint screen share? How did you record the videos?
Great question. What I did was I did a 2-minute introduction. So it was video of me with, the lighting and whatnot, and I got a decent Canon, camera. And so I would introduce what the module was going to be about, and also make it a little more personal too. Hey, by the way, I love those new videos you're doing where you're walking down the street and whatnot. That makes it more personal, right? And yeah, and so I wanted that personal feeling. And then what I did was, after that, I just cut away, and I go to what's called my chalkboard. And it was just on, if you're familiar with Prezi.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything I did, I just created it on Prezi, and then I just did a screen capture or recorded my screen and did a walkthrough while recording my audio at the same time. And yeah, so I would do that, and it made it very, I think it was just a really easy way to put your paperwork out there, onto Prezi, because you can download it as a PDF, right? Just drop and drag right on there, so you could show everyone everything, and it looked good. Aesthetically, it was great. It looked great, but it was also very simple to do. It wasn't a tough process. I think the hardest thing for me was the first couple of videos, just talking to a camera. Like, yeah, it was really awkward.
I know. I hate promo videos. I hate having to make a video like this for your webinar registration page or something. It's like, I want to just be like, I hate promo videos. If you want to check us out, read the copy and sign up. If not, that's fine too. It's like you have to go through this, like you say, I hate scripts too, and there are certain things that as a marketer you want to touch on, but you should make it your own. And just being you is the most important thing. But when you're putting together a course like you're talking about, you have to have some flow to it. Otherwise, it's too helter-skelter. I would be all over the place if I didn't have a flow sheet or something to follow. But
yeah.
Did you use who did you use for your video host? Did you use Wistia? Did you use Vimeo? Who did you use?
I used Vimeo. Vimeo was actually it's slick. It's nice, like it looks good. We did it on an online like a lifestyle product before that was called Primal 4, my wife and I, and we used YouTube for that, and it worked equally well, and that was free. With Vimeo, it looks better. I locked it down. In retrospect, I think my because I did have a designer or someone helped me out with the website creation. She recommended something a little different. I can't remember what she had recommended. But no, Vimeo worked well for me. It looks great.
Yeah.
It was easy to.
Yeah, Vimeo's fine. Vimeo works good. You can start with YouTube. It's free. I think Vimeo has a pro version, and then Wistia, I think you can get a few videos in. But if you're going to make a course, I think it's $25 a month or something, and they have a nice, sleek hosting video player and everything like that too. So there's options to go with that. So you shot these videos on screen share, which in your case you use Prezi. Anybody else can use, you can use Camtasia with your PowerPoint slides. You can use all kinds of things, and it sounds like you made PDFs out of some of that as well. So you packaged up your videos, your PDFs, and all your action guides and everything, and put them in basically a password-protected area, right?
Right.
What did you use? Did you use WordPress? Did you use an optimized press prime theme or anything to house your content, or how did you do that?
So we used, great questions. You're getting technical on me. So my wife helped me out with a lot of the technical help, but we use WordPress. WordPress site works well. I go in there. I have a blog. We also use Allweber for our newsletter. And yeah, so the tech who set everything up for us, we just would send her the links for the video from Vimeo and all the paperwork from. Is it Google S3? Was that it? Or Amazon S3. So she would just download all the information or uploads it from there. And she created a page with the 3 modules and then an individual page for each of the 30 modules once a subscriber goes in. I couldn't tell you how she did that. I think it was just other hidden pages possibly that our subscribers only have access to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so yeah, you can use, like you say, WordPress is probably the most popular way to do it, and Optimized Press I think is $97 or something like that, 2.0, and you can either use that to it looks nicer on your WordPress site, and then you can take something like Wishlist Member, or even Optimized Press 2.0 has a password protection option now, so there's a lot of ways to basically protect people, so they have to pay for it in order to access it. But it sounds like you had help with this, which is I would recommend if you're a healthcare provider and you don't want to learn that, or if you don't care about that, which is a lot of them, and which is great. That's perfectly fine. That's why I'd love to help you, or like you can hire somebody else to help you. Did you find somebody like on Odesk or Fiverr, or do you remember how you found somebody?
Eventually, we used someone from Odesk to help with the creation of our map, like the actual website itself. We had another person helping us out, and it wasn't working out. So yeah, we went through Odesk. Again, my wife Karen, she also we've used him to do 2 of our websites now, and he's amazing. I think it was like $300. He worked his butt off,
nice.
And yeah, really good. And even the person who put all the content, that was a different person, all the content in for Maverick, for my program or product itself. It was really inexpensive. So my time, I had to think, I probably could have figured out some of the stuff, but the amount of time it would have taken me, my time is much more valuable, and spending time with my kids is one of my highest core values, and my family, and of course my health. So my time is much more utilized when I'm in my office or when I was doing the videos and doing content, and I didn't want to get bogged down in the technical stuff. That was actually really easy to farm out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Don't get caught up on that stuff. It's so easy these days to have people put together stuff for you. Just, as the owner of the business like you are, and just your life, in charge of your life in general, you need to watch your time. Unless your passion is doing that stuff, which, I like that stuff. I'm not super techy. I definitely like it though. Then just don't do that. Do what you're passionate at and do what your biggest value is with your time. That's what you're doing in your practice and with your family, and it's just wonderful. So you got it together, and then did you start marketing it, or how did you get the word out on this thing?
Webinar. We promoted a webinar for a week out. and we did it again through Aweber. And we had, I think, 20 doctors or 25 doctors were registered for the webinar. We had about 5 to 8 show. I can't remember. You know, people float in and out, right?
Yeah.
And then, but we had 30 other doctors after that signed up for the replay. So in total, we had about 50, and it was, you know, I think I told you this before, John. I wasn't proud of the webinar. It wasn't my best moment. We had so many technical snafus where audio cut out and things like that. But you know what I mean? It was a real learning curve for us, and I know that if we're going to the next webinar, we got the information out there. We had brought on some clients. It was a success. I mean, we captured all of those a really great following. All of the people who signed up for the webinar, those were emails that actually we use now for our newsletter, and we're seeing a really great following for our site. So yeah, our next webinar will be coming out on the 15th, I think, of August, and I know we're going to knock it out of the park on this one. We got it down, so.
That's great. Yeah, are you using Webinar Jam, or is that what you're using for webinars?
Yeah, Webinar Jam.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah, guys. And webinars that's what's hot right now. Like, and, you know, like just like Ed said. I mean, that's what we've been doing lately, and it's just been. If you want to build your email list or build a following, an authentic following, get on a video like this. Have a live event with people who can ask Q&A. Clients will be knocking on your door if you do something like that. Your email list is going to go up through the roof. So. I'd highly recommend that. And what I'm impressed with is how you get 50 doctors. I mean, doctors are the hardest people to get. Are you talking to MDs? Are you talking chiropractors? I mean, because I've had a hard time marketing to MDs sometimes. I think they're a tough group to get to just because they're hit with so many things. Not that you guys aren't, though. I mean, definitely. How did you get so many doctors on there?
You know what? I think it was like I have a Facebook fan page, but I also have a Facebook persona, right? So I'm Dr. Ed Osburn on Facebook. I have 1,300 docs who are friends, and you know they may not be friends, but we all have similar, you know, we're all docs. So you know, I marketed to those docs. So they were, I would say that probably 80–90% of the people that showed up or watched the replay were doctors or chiropractors. The other percentage would have been massage therapists, I imagine, because I did a talk down in Calgary the weekend before, so I had lots of interest on that. And so yeah, that's how we got the docs out for that. We did some promotion, you know, paid promotion on Facebook, but that was it. That was it.
Yeah, you built a following, and you know that's why it's important to network and build a social media following and an email list, and yep. All those things. So. Cool, Ed. Well, thanks. Yeah, that's a really good conversation. I think you really painted a good picture of not only your story from, you know, working hard as a clinician to being ill and to implementing systems in your practice, opening your mind to new modalities, and you came into the laser work, you systematized that, and then you systematized that process again, so you're just full of systems, into an information product and service that's going to touch and help a lot of people. You can help other people. So you're helping people help people, which is always a noble cause, and that's kind of the theme in healthcare. Hopefully, is helping people help people, or helping people help themselves get better. That's pretty good. And then you touched a lot on you know, the process you went through to actually create that product, and how you didn't get bogged down. You outsourced what you didn't want to do. You worked. You built a network, so you were able to get people to a webinar, which is really hot, really effective for marketing these days. So I think that's a pretty good story, Ed. You know, that's pretty good. I mean, so Ed, as we wrap things up, can you just share with our viewers where they can find out more about you and what you're doing, and then we can say goodbye?
Yeah, I mean, you can look me up on Facebook if you like, and friend me. So you know, it's Dr. Ed Osburn and OSBURN on Facebook, and I actually have a new fan page as well, which is called the Chiropractic Philanthropist, and that's what I'm doing is I'm actually in the process of creating all new videos and video tutorials, and while I'm creating them, I'm posting them and also gathering an email newsletter, and it's all free content to help support doctors who are struggling in practice. So I'm basically giving it away. And if you want to contact me for laser consulting, it's basically MaverickLaserConsulting.com. And you can contact me if you have any questions or about even devices. I'm I'm an open book. I'm transparent. I'll give you as much information and help as you need.
Yeah. Do you have an email address or anything, Ed, you could share? Or
actually, Dr. Ed Osburn, OSBURN @gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Okay, we can link those things up, and we'll link all those up in the bottom of the show notes page of this discussion today, as well as some of the resources that we mentioned. We're starting to name drop there a little bit on the techie stuff, so we'll link some of that stuff up. But Ed, hey, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your journey and some of your knowledge and know-how about this whole process you've taken yourself from being in your business to now working on your business and helping a lot more people, and also freeing yourself up for your family and your health. And it's a really powerful lesson for us all today. So thank you for coming on and sharing, and yes, thanks so much.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
No problem. All right, everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed that discussion. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher Radio, go over to newwavehealthcare.com/interviews/Ed to check out his show notes page, or you can simply go to newwavehealthcare.com, click, enter Ed in the search bar, and his show notes page will pop right up. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that discussion. I will see you on the next one.